This week on This Is Jax, I'm sitting down with Krista Thomas, who's the owner of Monarch Ballroom Dance Studio. I'm lucky enough to chat with a real Florida native who's been in Jacksonville since 1987, has seen changes come and go. We're going to get to talk about the dance studio, how she's involved in the community, in our city, and what the future holds for Jacksonville. Thanks for tuning in. This is Jax. If it's your first time, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification button. Welcome to This Is Jax, a hyper-local podcast. We're going to do our best. We're going to bring on successful business owners, the people who drive the cities, share a lot about what makes our city so great. So you can be confident and comfortable. This is a city that you want to call home. All right, Krista, welcome to This Is Jax.
Thank you, Nate.
Thanks for coming in.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I knew when we first met and got coffee, I was like, this is going to be a good episode, so I can't wait. And it seemed like it took forever, but today's the day.
Today's the day.
Yeah, so you are a Florida native.
I am. Born and raised. I'm unusual, I hear.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm a Florida native too, so we got that in common. And it is rare, I will say. And I had one guest on, maybe a couple guests on so far that were Jacksonville natives, which was even rare.
Very rare.
They said for them it wasn't, but for us it seems rare.
Yeah.
Right? So, Florida native, you've obviously lived in a few different places. I've got Lake City, Live Oak, Gainesville, Tallahassee to be some of them, right?
Yeah, some small towns.
Okay, so you moved around a little bit and then you moved to Jacksonville in 1987.
Yes.
What was it that brought you to Jacksonville originally from wherever you were before?
So I was in small towns before. Tallahassee was the biggest town that I lived in prior to Jacksonville, and my mom had moved around quite a bit. So as a child, I was at her mercy wherever she wanted to live. And then she met someone that she married that was from Jacksonville. So we moved to Jacksonville so that they could be together.
Okay.
And it was my junior year of high school. So I was not interested in moving at that time. I didn't want to leave my friends and start over in a new city, not knowing anybody. But I did come because and I had a friend who offered for me to stay with her in Tallahassee, but I really wanted to stay with my family.
Yeah.
And so I made it work. And I think moving, grows you in ways that not moving does. And it gives you talents and skills and adaptability that you don't get if you don't go through it. And I'm really glad that I came. And I've been here ever since. I thought maybe I would just stay until I graduated and then leave. And here I am 35 years later.
That's cool. And I can relate to that as well because I moved a few times when I was younger. And then even in my early 20s, kind of moved a little bit till I settled here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And I share that experience where because I moved, the decision to move or not move seems easier on me. I don't have any anxiety over moving, but if I decide to stay, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you decided to stay here in Jacksonville. And what were you doing originally after school?
So after school, I was going to community college. I was in school to be a school teacher. And I was managing my family's bookstore. So I loved working for my family business, but also was excited to be a school teacher and then fell into dancing. There was a place on Phillips Highway called Crazy Horse Saloon.
Okay.
And they had country dancing. And I went there with a friend and saw the dancing and fell in love with it and started doing that and then ended up working for a studio and then opening my own studio. So the business has really kept me here from there.
And I want to touch on something because I heard a little bit there, which something that I didn't have in my notes was you guys had a family business already.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so maybe you had entrepreneurial influences from the get-go.
Yeah, I think so. I think since, selling Girl Scout cookies as a child, I always loved people and talking with people. So having my family own a business and seeing them do that just gave me a lot of confidence in opening a business on my own. It really didn't faze me to quit college and open a business.
What business was that again that they were doing?
It's a bookstore. So
bookstore.
It was books and comics. It was called Books and Comics Unlimited. It was on Bay Meadows Road. And we also had all the Batman comics that we were just talking about Batman earlier. Yeah. So that was a big part of what we did. And we had clients that came in every week to get their comic books. And we also sold books and I loved to read. And it was a fun place to be for me.
So that's perfect. And so once you decided to open your own studio, which was 1995, 95 or 6?
It was 96.
Okay, 96. So you'd lived in Jacksonville about 9-10 years at that time. what influences did owning the bookstore have on that? Did you have family that helped you with the start, or was it your own experience and you just struck it out on your own?
So that's a really good question. It was really my clients. So I had started working as a dance teacher at another studio, and I wasn't really happy there. I didn't love the ownership. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't agree with. So I decided to stop working there, and I just went back to working at my family business only. So I was managing a bookstore that we had on San Jose Boulevard. And my students who I had turned over to other teachers came and said, hey, we still really want to work with you. Could you still teach us? And I was like, well, I would love to, but I don't really have a spot to teach you. And there was a 3 square feet in the back of the store. And they said, well, could we dance right there after the store closed? And I was like, if you really want to, we could do that, I guess. So the store closed at 7, and I would teach from 7 to 9 the students that wanted to come. And it just got me thinking, wait a minute, if they will come and work with me, why don't I just open a spot? Perfect. So the space on San Jose that the bookstore was in had another space for lease. And I talked to the landlord about leasing it and opened the studio. And I would work in the bookstore during the day and then go lay wood floor after work.
Oh, okay.
To prepare the dance studio.
Yeah.
I mean, really grassroots, like bare bones. And my students would help me, like lay the floor and then have a lesson and then paint some walls and have a lesson.
That's so cool.
So it was a community effort.
It's like they were preparing a clubhouse.
It really was.
Yeah.
It was. So I'm very grateful for them for encouraging me and being there. the Crazy Horse Saloon and the other dance venues that are in Jacksonville were run really well and provided so much interest for people learning to dance. There was a real hunger for it to grow, for the dance community to grow. So because there were places that people could go and dance, more people wanted to come and learn to dance. So it built in a market for me that I was able to tap into. And we used that as marketing until they closed for a very long time. We would just go out and dance. People would see us and they'd say, hey, where'd you learn to dance? And we'd say, well, we can teach you. You want a free lesson? And we just built our business from there.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. I've been out dancing too. And the same thing, it was kind of like, if you go there the night of, or, you go there Friday night, Saturday night, whatever night it is, it's hard to like catch on and get going. So you've got to get those lessons. You've got to learn the moves before you go there, especially if you're doing some sort of line dancing or something fun like that as a group dancing, right?
Totally. Yes.
Very cool. Man, I kind of wanted to, that was very cool. And I had some other questions here posed and they were for later, but we might kind of jump to them now.
Sure.
Because you talked about the dance clubs now, and you just mentioned until they closed.
Yes. Yeah. So when I first started, country dancing in the 90s was huge. Yeah. It had carried over from the movie Urban Cowboy. There was lots of great country artists like Reba McEntire and Garth Brooks and Toby Keith and so many more that were really producing songs that were really danceable for dances like waltz and West Coast swing and two-step. So because of that, there was a ton of just new people coming into dancing and wanting to dance. And then the music changed in the early 2000s. Country music went a lot more pop. And so there wasn't new music coming out for all those dances. So that's when all of us older people who had been dancing for a while started getting married, having babies, not going out to the clubs till 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, sure.
And there weren't the new dancers coming in behind us. So the whole market shifted.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. So it wasn't only that the music changed, but also everybody who was a part of that scene, right, was kind of at a stage in life where they didn't have the time to do it, even if they wanted to.
Correct.
Potentially. So what do you think the future holds? Do you think that we may see a revival in not only that type of music, but that type of a market popping up as now people's kids are getting older and maybe moving out of the house and they have time and they're like, hey, I want to go somewhere that reminds me of my youth or nostalgia. Do you see a future for that here in Jacksonville potentially?
Yeah, there's definitely a future for it. It's not going to look the same as it did in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, but it is coming back. It's changing. So there's a whole young group of people who are doing a dance called country swing, which is more like hustle. Yeah. It's not like the old swing that we used to do, but it works with a lot of the new country music, and line dancing is still really popular. So out at Surfer Bar, out at the beach, they have a country night, and there's tons of people in college age that are going out dancing there. And then there's a place called K1, which is the Audubon off Phillips Highway. Right. That has country dancing on Monday nights. And there's a new country dance hall opening on Beach Boulevard very soon. It's like 8,000 square feet. So it's really big. I
need to know about that.
I know.
Last time we met, we talked about that.
We did.
Because that's one of it's in the pipeline for me as well. Some stuff about that. So I would love that. You teach a wide variety of dances. You just touched on some. You also teach ballroom styles, waltz, tango, Latin, all that kind of stuff. What dance style is your personal favorite to teach? My favorite dance to dance and to teach is called Viennese waltz. It's like a fast waltz. So it feels like flying. It has a lot of power. It's the best cardio you can get. So instead of running on the treadmill, I like to dance Viennese waltz and get my cardio. The music is beautiful. It's just magical. Any Disney movie you've seen and there's a ballroom dance scene with the princess and the prince is usually a waltz or a Viennese waltz. So it's just kind of Cinderella, magical for me. But I love Latin dancing. I love country dancing, of course, line dancing, Irish step dancing, like river dance. I love all of it. And as the different, themes become popular, we're able to shift. So right now, Latin dancing is really popular all over the world. So we do a ton of salsa and bachata and merengue and kizomba and all of those dances. So it's nice that we've been able to keep our business afloat and just shift with the different popular dances. That's pretty cool. Well, what do you think? Anything coming down the pipe that's like going to be the next craze? Country swing. Okay. Country swing, I think, is the next craze. Okay. So outside of that, you also do weddings. We do. Do you have any memorable experiences or something particularly unique at a wedding dance? We work with the bride and groom for their first dance, obviously, but we also work with fathers and daughters for that dance and the mother-son dance. And then sometimes we do like a whole wedding family dance. And two of them that stand out for me, if I can mention two, one is a father-daughter dance. And the daughter, Allie, was so excited to do a whole mashup of songs from the 90s and do some hip hop stuff with her dad. So they start out with just like It's a Wonderful World, very traditional. Yeah. And then the music cuts and it goes into this high energy rap song and then another one and another one. And her dad is a doctor and very conservative and very straight-laced and doesn't have a dance bone in his body. But he showed up for every lesson and tried his best. And they did the most epic dance, father-daughter dance I've ever seen. There's a great video of it if anybody wants to see it. And it was just really sweet of him to show up and do that with her and for her because he would have never done that on his own. Right. And afterwards, the next day after the wedding, he called and said, "Oh my gosh, you were right. They screamed when they said that they were going to scream." And I had the best time ever. And just thank you for the experience. That's such a special moment. Really sweet. Yeah. And they had the whole, not just the day of the wedding, they had 3 months prior to the wedding that they got to spend time together, doing something together, creating this memory that now they have forever. So it was really fun. That is really fun. Outside of that, outside of choreographing special events, weddings and stuff, you're also involved in a couple fun things around town, right? So something notable is First Coast Dancing with the Stars event. Yes. Can you share a little bit about what that event is and maybe some particularly memorable moments that you have as a partnership with them? Yeah. So First Coast Dancing with the Stars is a fundraising event that benefits Beach's Fine Arts Series. Beach's Fine Arts Series provides free concerts to the public. They bring in world-class musicians to do school outreach and to do concerts for free to the public. And they used to have a triathlon at the beach that they raised money for their concerts. And then one year
We had been doing Dancing with the Stars to benefit the Heart Association, juvenile diabetes, several different organizations. And so one of the people that participated in that was also friends with Kathy Wallace, who runs Beach's Fine Art Series. So they thought they would try a Dancing with the Stars fundraiser. And because it was so successful, they have continued it. So this is our 11th or 12th year doing First Coast Dancing with the Stars. It is at WJCT Studios, and we have capacity for 400 people. Our next event is September 13th, but all the tickets are already sold out.
Wow. How far in advance do the tickets usually sell out?
It has ranged over the past 11 years, anywhere from 2 months prior to 2 days prior to the event. So this year is really unusual that the tickets were gone within 30 days.
And it's a once a year event?
It is. Okay. It's every September.
So we'll have to wait till next year, huh?
Yeah, you'll have to wait till next year.
So you heard that. If you're out there listening and you're like, man, I do want to take advantage of that, put it on your calendar for next year. Start looking for it. Where can they find information about that?
It's on the internet under First Coast Dancing with the Stars and Beach's Fine Art Series. Okay.
Very cool. Very cool. And then you've participated in this and you've had some high profile partners and you've won a couple times. It looks like Senator Aaron Bean and City Manager John Reagan, right?
Yes.
You won with those. What do you think contributed to the success with these guys? What was it that, was it all you just teaching them,
no,
or does the star have to bring something to the table?
Star has to bring a lot to the table. They have to bring their A game, and these are like top professionals in their field. Like they do amazing in their jobs, and sometimes they're comfortable on the dance floor, but usually they're not. So they have to really step outside of their comfort zone and then perform this dance in front of 400 people. But they also have to raise money, because after all, it is a fundraiser. So they do that by selling tickets, and they do that by asking their friends for supports. So every dollar is a vote. So people can support the event and support their friends by purchasing tickets or just making a donation, which of course is tax deductible and goes to Beach's Fine Art Series.
That's special. Are there any other charities or outreach events that you and your dance studio are a part of?
We do. Every year we donate to silent auctions and fundraisers from any local business or charity that asks us.
Okay.
If you ask us for a donation to your charity or your auction, the answer is yes.
Okay. Very cool. Going back to all of that, everything there is incredible, but it wouldn't have been possible had you not decided to stay here in Jacksonville.
No.
And so what I'm curious is, at what point in the journey did Jacksonville become more of a home than a place where you just lived for the time being?
Probably when I bought my first house, and we loved the San Marco area, so that was kind of the goal, to live there. But we ended up in Beauclair, and then the neighbors and the community and the location, it was so close to everything. Loved to watch the sunset over the river and the parks. Loved to watch the sunrises at the beach. Having the nature and all of the parks that we have here in Jacksonville is really special. And then we have so much rich art happening. We have so much music and concerts and art museums and the Cummer, and just really great events and activities that there's always something to do. The weather's beautiful. It's easy to have a business here. It's affordable. The traffic isn't too bad. And then once I started having a family, I didn't want to move. So I really wanted to keep our kids in the same area so that they could build a life here too. And they have. And I told them, I have 4 daughters. And when they were little, I said, when you grow up, you can live anywhere in Beauclair that you want to live.
Anywhere.
Like in our neighborhood.
In the neighborhood. Did they listen?
Yes, so far.
Close.
So far, they're all here. We'll see where the future takes them. And of course, I support them wherever they want to go. But Jacksonville is just a really wonderful city here in Florida, and I feel grateful to live here.
Yeah. What does the future hold for Monarch Ballroom Dance Studio here in Jacksonville?
Well, so we have a very strong dance program just regularly for all of our ballroom, Latin, country people that are single, people that are new to the area, people that are empty nesters that want to add something fun to their their lives together can come in. But if you're a Bridgerton fan, do you know what Bridgerton is, Nate?
I have no idea what Bridgerton is.
So Bridgerton, do you know what Downton Abbey is?
Is that the movie?
It's
or
like
the
a
show or something?
Yeah, it's a show on Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
So
it's old-timey?
It's old-timey. It's
Okay.
like 17th century historical show, and they take a lot of liberties with it. They have beautiful costumes, beautiful architecture in Europe, and beautiful ballroom dancing.
Okay.
So back in the 1800s, the way that people would meet each other would be during the season, and eligible bachelors and bachelorettes would come into the city from the countryside, and they would host balls for them to meet each other so they could strike a match and a relationship and a marriage. So there was always dancing at those balls, and it's really beautiful. And the show has been really popular. And so one of our instructors, Tavia, is a big fan of the show, and she said, hey, can we do a series of classes that are the dances from Bridgerton, and then host a Bridgerton ball where it's a costume ball and everybody dresses up in the costumes and we have a ball. So that is going to be starting in September. So if you have any interest in Bridgerton, you should check that out. It's going to be a 3-month kind of event where you can step back in time and experience some of those things.
So it sounds like, and what I'm putting together is the effect of what's popular in culture has a lot to do with what you guys offer at the studio. Going to the 90s, that country music trend was popular, and that was a big influence of what you had going on in the studio at the time. And now we've got shows like on Netflix that just happen to stumble into popularity or whatever, but there's dancing in it, and then it finds its way to your studio. So it's kind of cool that you get to be a part of the pop culture, at whatever season is coming.
Yes,
right? So
yes, it is.
that is pretty cool. And so as far as the city goes, that's the future of the ballroom, and you get to add some of that in. What developments in the city do you see that have you excited?
Let's see. I mean, I'm really excited about what's happening downtown. Yeah. I love our downtown area. I love the architecture of the old homes down there in Springfield. Yeah. And it would be my dream to have one of those big, beautiful homes with the hardwood floors and all the carved wood.
With a ballroom.
With a ballroom, little dance floor in there.
Yeah.
You got it.
I like the sunroom greenhouses that are attached to those homes too. As well.
I do too. One of my favorite things about those homes is all the light, all the windows and all the light and the gardens. It's really, they're just beautiful. Yeah. So I would love to see the buildings that are empty downtown have some really good use and parking, and have all of that area be utilized for families and multi-generational families. You know, having things that are really good for college age people, families that are married, and then retired people as well. So it's multi-generational down there.
I would love to have some sort of flat downtown. Yes. You know?
It's beautiful.
That I could turn into whatever, a music studio, or for photography or dance, hold it like an event space. That's kind of my dream.
Yes. Music. You bring the music, I'll bring the dancers.
For sure.
Let's go.
I've been playing in this country band,
Yes. I know. Yeah. Do you guys have are you playing anywhere anytime soon?
We play Underbelly. We just played there, and then we're playing there again on August 17th. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be over. And then again, we're kind of playing there once a month for a while, I think. So it's kind of pop country, but I know what you mean, because just in the studio the other night, we were actually, it wasn't in the studio. It was like tailgating in the parking lot after the studio. And we were like, we really need to write some songs that can get people dancing. Because even though we've got some good songs and it's very pop country, but you're right. They're not really dance focused.
Right.
Right. There's been a few stuff that's come out, in recent years that I'm like, I can see that moving, and even it's displayed in the music videos where they show the dancing. One of my favorite movies of all time is Pure Country with George Strait from like 1992. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
I don't think so. I'll have to check it out.
It is my number one favorite movie. So be sure to check it out. There's a little secret about me released on the show.
I'll check it out. Did you ever see Dirty Dancing?
Yes, I've seen that, but I can't remember anything about it. So maybe I got to go refresh my...
You should go check it out. Yeah, that was a movie. I remember seeing it in high school, and I remember just being blown away by it. And I went back to see it in the theaters several times. And that kind of was a seed that was planted in me for the dancing for the future. Little did I know I would be dancing at that time.
That's crazy. Well, I appreciate you coming on here. I know it seems like we could talk all day about it. We've already almost used all the time for our show, but thanks so much for coming on, Krista. If someone out there is looking to get a hold of you, maybe for some entrepreneurial or Jacksonville advice, or if they want to come to the studio and they want to dance and check it out, maybe get some lessons or choreograph for their wedding, what's the best way, the one-stop shop way to get in touch with you, to get in touch with the studio?
So if they want to get in touch with me, they can just go right to monarchballroomdance.com. That's our website. And there is a contact us form, and I get all of those messages. They all come directly to me. So if they email or call the number that's on the website, it will come directly to me. The phone number is 904-730-7900. They can call that and I will answer the phone. And I love this city, and I have, because I've been here so long and have such a large network, I love connecting people, and I love helping people find things that they need and recommending my friends and my favorite businesses to people. So I'm here to help in that capacity for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. This is Jax, and thanks for listening.